Carol had bought the old music box for $15. While cleaning it at home, she found a Bronze Star medal in a small hidden compartment. She remembered her father was a Korean War veteran. She wanted to learn the story behind this medal. She had never been able to talk to her father about the Korean War. Whenever she asked, he would say, "That's in the past, Carol. It doesn't matter." Even when he passed away 15 years ago, he never spoke about his war days. Now she was holding another man's Bronze Star medal and wondered, had her father also received a medal? Why had he never talked about it? Who was this William Turner, and why was his medal in this music box? Carol knew she needed to learn this story. Maybe she could understand her father better. Hello and welcome to The Last Stand. Do you have a Korean War veteran in your family? Have you ever talked about their war experiences? Share your experiences in the comments. Carol Williams was 47 years old and ran a small antique shop in Maple Ridge. Going to estate sales was her passion. She loved discovering old items where people's life stories were hidden. That Saturday morning, the estate sale on Pine Avenue was like any other. Old Mrs. Thompson's house was being sold, and Carol was hoping for some nice antiques. Most items were ordinary household goods, but in one corner, an old music box caught her attention. The music box was from the 1950s, wood-paneled with elegant carving work on top. The 15 price tag seemed reasonable to Carol. She bought it and took it to her shop. While cleaning the music box at home, Carol noticed a small hidden compartment inside. When she pressed it gently with her finger, the compartment opened. A small box came out. Inside the box was a Bronze Star medal. She read the engraved text, "Corporal William Turner, 2nd Infantry Division, Korean War 1953, for valor in combat." Carol's heart started beating fast. She knew her father was a Korean War veteran, but he had never talked about it. He always said, "It's in the past, and it doesn't matter." Now she was holding another veteran's Bronze Star. This medal was very precious. Someone must be looking for it. The next day, Carol started her internet research. She typed William Turner Korean War into the search box. Several results came up, but it was hard to tell which William Turner it was. She went to the town library. Librarian Mrs. Johnson was willing to help. "Do you have Korean War veteran records?" Carol asked. "Yes, we have local veteran records in our archives." "What year are you looking for?" "Around 1953. I'm looking for someone named William Turner." Mrs. Johnson pulled out old files. They started going through the 1953 records. Finally, they found it. William Turner, 82 years old, living in Maple Ridge, 125 Birch Lane. Carol's heart beat fast. The man was still alive and living in the same town. Carol went to Birch Lane. The house at number 125 was small and well-maintained. The garden was neat, with beautiful flowers. She knocked on the door. An elderly man opened the door. He was tall, gray-haired, with blue eyes. He was supported by a walker, but his posture was straight. "How can I help you?" the man said. "I'm Carol Williams. I own an antique shop. I found something I think belongs to you." "What kind of thing?" Carol took out the medal. "This medal." William Turner's face suddenly changed. His eyes widened. His breath caught. He leaned against the wall for support. "This. Where did you find this?" "Inside a music box. I bought it at an estate sale." William looked at the medal silently. Tears gathered in his eyes. "Please come inside," William said. "This is a long story." Carol went in. The house was clean and organized. There were old photographs on the walls, but none showed military uniforms. "Please sit down. Can I offer you some tea?" "Tea would be nice, thank you." William went to the kitchen. Carol looked around. It was like an ordinary old man's house. There were no traces of military background. William returned with tea. He took the medal in his hand and looked at it for a long time. "I haven't seen this medal in 55 years, he said quietly. "How did it end up inside the music box?" "Oh, this is a very complicated story. Mary's story. Mary was my girlfriend," William said. "We were engaged before the war. I gave her the medal before I went to Korea. She said, 'I'll wait for you.'" William took a deep breath. "But the war lasted a long time. I was there for 18 months. When I returned, Mary had married someone else. You had given her the medal. Yes. I said, this is yours. She said, you deserve this. But I couldn't take it back. I was too hurt. Carol understood now. Mary kept it hidden in the music box. I guess so. Mary passed away last year. She was Mrs. Thompson's daughter. The pieces were falling into place. She had found the music box at Mrs. Thompson's estate sale. How did you earn this medal? Carol asked. William was silent for a long time. Then he began to speak. It was summer 1953. We were near Heartbreak Ridge. Chinese forces had launched an attack. Our unit was in very bad shape. He lowered his voice. 5 friends were wounded. Chinese soldiers were very close. Someone had to carry them to safety. You carried them. Yes. I made 3 trips back and forth. I carried all 5 friends to safety. On the last trip, I was wounded too, but they all survived. William's eyes looked into the distance. The commander gave me the Bronze Star, but I wasn't a hero. I just did what was right. Why did you never tell this story? Carol asked. William shrugged. Who would have been interested? The war was over. Everyone wanted to move on with their lives. So did I. What about your family? Your wife? Children? I married Margaret in 1955. She wouldn't ask about the war either. She understood I didn't want to talk about it. The children weren't curious either. Carol thought about her father. He had done the same thing. Silently buried his past and moved on with his life. Maybe that was how that generation did things, Carol said. My father was also a Korean War veteran. He never talked about it either. William looked curious. Who was your father? Richard Williams. He was with the 3rd Infantry Division. William's face lit up. Richard Williams. Of course I know him. He was my tent mate. Carol was surprised. Really? Yes. I knew him very well. We fought together at Heartbreak Ridge. Richard was a very good man. How is he? He passed away 15 years ago. But he never talked to me about the war. William nodded. Richard was quiet too, but he was a very brave soldier. He saved my life twice. Carol's eyes filled up. She was talking to her father's war buddy. I would have liked to tell him what a good soldier he was, William said. But it's too late now. This medal belongs to you, Carol said. I should give it back. William shook his head. No. This medal stayed with Mary for 55 years. She kept it for a reason. Maybe you were the one who needed to find it. I don't understand. You wanted to learn about your father's and my story? This medal brought you to me. Now let me tell you your father's story. William stood up and took out an old photograph from the cabinet. 2 young soldiers were visible in the photo. One was William. The other was Carol's father, Richard. Here's your father, William said. This photo was taken at Heartbreak Ridge, the day he saved me. William looked at the photo and began to tell. Richard was very modest. Brave, but modest. That day the Chinese soldiers had surrounded us. I was wounded, couldn't move. Richard went back alone to get me. It was very dangerous. Bullets were flying around us, but he didn't give up. Carol thought about her father. Her father, who was always quiet and modest in home life. He carried me on his back to safety. Then he saved other wounded soldiers. He saved 3 more soldiers that day. Did my father get a medal? Yes. He got a Bronze Star, but he never wore it. He would say it was my duty. He would say anyone else would have done it. Carol wiped her eyes. She now understood why her father never talked about it. These stories should be told, Carol said. People should know, William thought. Maybe you're right. Our generation always stayed silent, but maybe that was wrong. Veterans Day is coming up. We could organize an event. What kind of event? Local veteran stories. You tell my father's story, and I tell yours. William's eyes sparkled. That's a good idea. I wonder how many veterans were left in town. Let's research it. Maybe more stories will come out. Okay, William said. Let's do this event, for Richard's memory. In the following weeks, Carol and William worked for the event. They placed an ad in the local newspaper. Korean War veteran stories wanted. Responses started coming. There were 12 more Korean War veterans in town. They were all living quietly. Carol visited each one. They all had stories. They were all modest. "I'm not special," they would say. "I just did my duty," they would say. But their stories were incredible. Stories of courage, sacrifice, friendship. William also helped. He remembered old friends. "Oh, Joe Miller. Does he also live here? I know him too." The event began to grow. On Veterans Day morning, they filled the town hall. 200 people came. Veterans, their families, friends. Carol gave the opening speech. "These stories have been silent for 70 years, but now it's time to tell them." William came on stage. He had the bronze star that Carol found in his hand. "This medal brought me together with Richard Williams' daughter," he said. "Richard was my tent mate, my best friend. He saved me at Heartbreak Ridge." The hall was silent. Everyone was listening carefully. Richard was very brave but never bragged. "Until his daughter Carol found this medal, I couldn't tell his story." Carol wiped her eyes. She was proud of her father. Other veterans also came on stage. Joe Miller told his tank battle story. Frank Rodriguez told about the Inchon landing. Every story was a story of courage. But they all said the same thing: "Thank you. I just did my duty." The audience was crying, applauding. These stories were being told for the first time. Carol thought about her father. He was also on stage, next to William. He was there spiritually. "This is just the beginning," Carol said into the microphone. "These stories should be recorded. Future generations should know." The hall gave a standing ovation. After the event, everything changed. Carol's antique shop became a veteran story center. People brought old items. "This was my father's," they would say. "Does this have a story?" William regularly visited the shop. He would tell Korean War stories to customers who came. The local newspapers started a weekly Veteran Stories column. Carol took over the writing. The town council decided to establish Veterans Memorial Park. Every veteran's name would be written. Their stories, too. Carol's father's name was also there: Richard Williams, Bronze Star, Korean War, Heartbreak Ridge hero. 3 months later, Carol started a big project: Korean War Oral History Project. They would record all veterans. Video recordings, photographs, documents, everything would be stored in a digital archive. History students from the university came to help. They conducted interviews with veterans. William became the chairman of the project. "We've been silent for 70 years, he said. "Now it's time to speak." Carol brought out her father's old belongings: letters, photographs, documents. They all went to the archive. The music box was still in Carol's house, but it wasn't empty anymore. Inside was a photo of her father and William, the Heartbreak Ridge photo. 6 months later, William received an invitation from the Republic of Korea. A special ceremony would be held in Seoul. They would honor Korean War veterans. William was hesitant, traveling at this age. "You should go," Carol said. "This is my father's story too." "I'm coming too." The ceremonies in Seoul were magnificent. 500 Korean War veterans came from around the world. The president of Korea gave a speech: "You are our freedom. You are our salvation." William and Carol visited Heartbreak Ridge. There was a peace monument there now. William looked at the old battlefield. "Richard saved me here," he said. "I came to thank him 70 years later." After Carol returned to America, she founded the Bronze Star Project. She continued collecting veteran stories. Now it wasn't just Korean War, but also Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan veterans were included. William was 84 years old, but actively working. He would go to schools and tell stories to students. "The young generation should know," he would say, "freedom is not free." Carol's antique shop became Williams Turner Veterans Heritage Center, named after William and Carol. The music box was still there. Now it was a museum piece. There was a plaque next to it. This music box brought two veteran friends together after 70 years. If you enjoyed these powerful stories, don't forget to subscribe to the Last Stand channel. We share new hero stories every day. Carol Williams still runs the Veterans Heritage Center today. William Turner passed away last year at age 85, but his legacy continues. That music box is still in its place at the museum, and dozens of veteran stories are discovered every day. Because sometimes the most valuable treasures are hidden in the most unexpected places.